And welcome back to What If. I have, no joke, folks, 3 different what ifs to do today. Because this one from Alice, What If Godzilla Was in Pokemon, was the original what if that was supposed to be done today. However, there is a birthday what if I'm doing later today. I only do what ifs for birthday requests if I can do them in one shot. And there is the what if from yesterday that I have to do. So I have to actually do a couple what ifs today. That'll be it though for the videos today. I only got to do 3 more what ifs. And so from Alice, we have what if Godzilla was in Pokemon? Now, again, we gotta lay out the groundwork a little bit. As you can see from the image, this is the legendary version of Godzilla here. I usually use the legendary version of Godzilla because in scenarios, in worlds, like say when I did the Avatar Last Airbender Godzilla crossover, that's the Godzilla that logically makes sense to be in that world. The born from a nuclear bomb going off Godzilla doesn't make sense to be in an Avatar world. And likewise, honestly, I don't know if it would make sense for that version of Godzilla to be in a Pokemon-based world. I say that actually not knowing if, like, say, nuclear energy or bombs like that even exist in the Pokemon world. We know guns do. We know firearms do. We know that wars have been fought in the Pokemon world. But I don't know what exactly the level of arsenal within the Pokemon world in terms of... that's Godzilla's tail over the... over my camera. I was like, what is that over there? It moved. Yeah, I don't know what the level of arsenal is in the Pokemon world. So we're going to go more with the legendary version. And to be honest, the legendary version has really grown on me. I liked it to begin with, but some people didn't. I've actually really grown to like the legendary version, and he's one of my favorite designs, if nothing else, for Godzilla. So we'll go with there. But, we now have to answer the big question for this what if. The monumental question for this what if. Is Godzilla classified as a Pokemon? Could you, in theory, catch Godzilla? And that is a rack your brain question. By all accounts, he functions like a Pokemon. He has an energy blast. He has an energy attack. It'd probably be his own signature blast. He can attack with physical moves. He, by all accounts, would qualify as a Pokemon. However, at least by that general standard. But he clearly functions differently than a Pokemon. There is no element, for example, with him. He has no typing. At least not in a traditional sense. Like at best, I could put fire type on there because of his atomic breath. I could do that. I could also put dragon typing. But the problem is that unless I'm altering Godzilla to become a Pokemon, there's no really logical way to actually do a typing on Godzilla because he doesn't fall in the parameters of a standard Pokemon. He's also too huge to be a Pokemon. The biggest Pokemon in the world, as it stands, if you're taking Dynamax out of the equation, obviously, is, I believe, from a length perspective, or length, it's Wailord. Wailord is the biggest Pokemon lengthwise at 40 feet, if I'm not mistaken. The heaviest Pokemon, I believe, is Groudon, if I'm not mistaken, the heaviest Pokemon. Because when we first had Pokemon come out, it was Snorlax. Snorlax was the heaviest Pokemon in the world, at a little over 1,000 pounds. But then we had the introduction of Groudon, and Groudon is... okay, the heaviest Pokemon ever is actually Celesteela, the Ultra Beast, at 2,204 pounds, 4.4 pounds, or 999.9 kilograms. So that is the heaviest Pokemon in the world at 2,204 pounds, basically. The longest, and at a height of 30 feet, it's still also a pretty tall Pokemon too. The longest Pokemon, and length can translate to height too in this case. Longest Pokemon in general is, I believe, Wailord. Oh, no. Eternatus. Apparently is actually the longest Pokemon in the world. I didn't even know about this. Eternus is 65 feet long. I didn't even know about that. I didn't even think about that. And that's in its normal state. Its Eternamax form is huge. So your longest Pokemon is Eternus at 65 feet, and your heaviest is Celesteela at 2,200 pounds, 204 pounds. Godzilla, just in weight alone, is hundreds of thousands of tons, not pounds, tons. I think Legendary's Godzilla ranks in roughly around like 90 tons, which means he dwarfs the heaviest Pokemon. Height-wise, he's roughly about 400 feet tall as it stands right now. He's kind of been growing as the series has been going. But he's around 400 feet of length to height, snout to tip of his tail. So he completely outclasses any Pokemon that exists in terms of height and weight and just sheer physical power. It would take probably like every legendary around to deal like true damage to him. So let's go with the idea that if we go with the idea he's a Pokemon, even if we go with the idea that maybe he has a type, maybe he has an ability that just completely negates damage to, like, basically neutralizes all attacks. So it's just neutral damage. Okay, so we got that. He's also not the oldest Pokemon because we know Arceus, the Creation Creation Trio, they're older than Godzilla is. Godzilla, though, is millions upon millions of years old, though. So he is the oldest living Pokemon probably around. Say maybe like a Relicanth or something like that. And even then, probably older than Relicanth. He was around when there was more radiation, feeding on the radiation of the world. And then he just went to slumber and just been chilling. And now, to be fair, we're only talking about if Godzilla existed in the Pokemon world. Not if, like, all the Titans or the Mutos or whatever existed. Just Godzilla. And so he's pretty much, honestly, well, now that we've gotten to the actual what if he existed in the world part, it's kind of anticlimactic because I don't think enough shit usually is happening in the world of Pokemon that Godzilla would really give two shits. He'd just be content living in his home under the sea, feeding on radiation, sleeping and chilling. Like, whatever, I'll go for a swim now and then. I'm bored. All right. Hey, Lugia, what up? Yeah, it's just the fact that Godzilla came about because there's an imbalance. Like Godzilla protect, at least in the legendary world, comes as more of like a protector of the balance of the planet. But as time progressed, he went to sleep. More Pokemon emerged. When he woke up the next time around, probably he realized there's a lot of balance. The world is in balance. He can sense the Titans could sense the energy of the world, the imbalance, and try to rebalance it. Godzilla can sense that there is balance, but he can also sense that there's so many more Pokemon around, so many more creatures around, and powerful ones too. Nothing that in theory would contend with him, but powerful nonetheless. So he would probably at least go and investigate what's going on. To date, we don't have a radiation Pokemon as far as I know. So that's, correct me if I'm wrong on that. Do we have any Pokemon that actually does like radiate? Is there any radiation type Pokemon? Is there any Pokemon that are radiation or radioactive Pokemon? Radioactive Pokemon. Do we have any? And not the nuclear types from the game. I know it. I don't see any Pokemon. I don't see anything that says there's a radioactive Pokemon, like a Pokemon that produces radiation. That's something if Game Freak wanted to introduce a new type. There's been plenty of fan types that we've wanted in the community that we wanted to be introduced. The light type, which let's be honest is fairy. Sound type's been a big one, but like a type of radiation type, a nuclear type, that's what you get in uranium. Blood, I heard like blood or plasma type, cosmic type. There's been fan typings made before, and nuclear was one of them. The idea of radiation Pokemon that like give off maybe like a natural radiation that wouldn't necessarily be harmful to humans, at least inherently, but would still exist, would be interesting. But really, that would just be, if you're going with like the idea of radiation, what it does, that would just be poison type, really. So I can see why radiation probably hasn't been introduced yet, if it will ever be. Still, Godzilla wouldn't be completely satisfied. He would still just go. He would at least confront the Pokemon that are like keeping balance, and probably have it out with him at least once, just to be sure. It's like, okay, you're doing a good job, but just so you know, I'm the guy in charge. Like, you can do what you want. I'm actually quite content here, but just so you know, you guys don't get to call the shots. Lugia being telepathic, for example. Lugia would be one of the big ones, and Kyogre would be two of the big ones he has a beef with, because they both live in the ocean, which is where he lives. So these guys, first off, Lugia being psychic would definitely try to communicate with Godzilla, saying, "We're not a threat to you, Ancient One. We do not wish to fight with you, but we will defend ourselves if need be. We are here to maintain the balance, just as you once did." And Godzilla, it's like... Godzilla being able to communicate with him now, it's like, is that so? If you want to maintain the balance, so you think you're better than me? No, not at all. We know we cannot compete with you. Your power is too great. If the legends of what they say of you are true. And so Godzilla's like, all right, fine. You want to do this? Prove it. And so basically, Godzilla actually says, like, all of you who actually maintain, because not every legendary Pokemon maintains balance, by the way. You would have Lugia, who helps guard the sea, and along with Kyogre. The Weather Trio doesn't really, not the Weather Trio, but the legendary birds really don't do it. But you have Kyogre and Groudon, like I said, and Rayquaza. They're all about balance. Obviously, Xerneas and Yveltal, definitely about balance. Yes. Zekrom, Reshiram, and Kyurem are the Tau Trio. Technically, they're about balance, but not in the same sense. Shaman technically is dealing with balance. Suicune is even dealing with balance to a degree. So a lot of Pokemon do deal with the balance of the ecosystem. Not in the most recent gens, but a lot of them do. So a couple of Godzilla is like, it's like, show me how strong you are. And so Lugia actually has to go and like, all right, Kyogre, can you go? And I got Groudon. If I wake up Groudon and we start fighting, Rayquaza will come down and explain what's going on. And so a little later, the legendaries who do help maintain... Oh, and Zygarde. Zygarde's literally the Pokemon that is the balance maintainer. And so they're all meeting near the coast. It's like, what's going on here? And the few humans who are around, like, this would happen before, like, way before, like, the anime main story or whatever. Are we like, what's going on? All these legendaries, what's going on? All of a sudden, it's like, where's that music coming from? But seriously, Godzilla will come out. And the biggest legendary out of the group, when we're talking about like the ones that keep balance, I think is Kyogre. No, sorry, I think is Groudon. He's the heaviest one, certainly. But I think is Groudon. Either that or it's Lugia in terms of like just straight like high. So they're all, but again, we're talking about a Pokemon like I think is Groudon is depicted at Groudon. Let's see, Groudon. Let's see. Groudon's height is depicted at, or set, not depicted, but is stated to be, chameleon. There we go. He's only 11 feet tall? I'm sorry, that's a load of crap. The anime depicts him like 30 feet tall or something. What? It's a load of crap. 11 feet 6 my ass. But okay, he's 11 foot. Let's just say they're a bit bigger. Even if we highball some of these guys to like 30 feet, like they're actually depicted in the damn anime. Godzilla literally is 10 times their size. So you're like, if Godzilla's right, like this is the Godzilla here. These guys are only coming up to here. Like even Ground's like, holy crap. I was like, all right, let me see what you hit. Like Godzilla's like, let me see what you've got. You all get a free shot. And they all just use their strongest attacks. Boo, boo, boo. Zygarde goes like, holy crap. Zygarde collects like as many as he can. Yveltal and Xerneas, I don't think could be there. Or if they're there, they can only be there for a short time because before they, have to revert back to their cocoon form. But they're like, they fire everything they can at Godzilla, just boom. And Godzilla's it just looks down at it and he just boom, and just blows it into the sky. Even Raekwon's like, huh. And he basically just, he basically what he did when he came out of the ocean in King of the Monsters, just kind of just, it's like, all right. They just wanted to prove a point. It's like you guys could do what you want. I'm going back to bed. Like, what? That's it? Yeah, just wanted to see what you guys had. Well, not bad, all things considered. Give it a couple more million years, you might be able to do something. I'm good. I'm going back to bed. And then he just goes to and basically he's just, they realize like he could have squashed us at any goddamn time he wanted to. And so they like, oh god, let's just be glad he's accepted our place in here. Let's just go back to doing what we were doing. And even Groundon and Kyogre, who normally fight, are like, we good, bro, for right now? Yeah, I need a couple decades. And Godzilla's proving the point, like, yeah, I'm still the alpha. But humans are there, and they saw Godzilla. And so, if we're talking about, and keep in mind, this is the Pokemon anime, not the Pokemon games. So eventually, you would get to a movie where, whatever movie it would be, it'd probably be a Godzilla-specific movie, where an evil team, an evil mastermind is trying to find this legendary Titan Pokemon. This Pokemon that ruled over other legendaries. Yeah, that's how powerful, like technically Calyrex is the King of Kings, but King Pokemon, but we're talking about a Pokemon that is like truly the one that answers to no one except for probably Arceus. And even then, that'd be debatable, quite frankly. Because Arceus, as powerful as he's allegedly supposed to be, is really never depicted as being that powerful. He's supposed to be very powerful. Allegedly created the whole universe, or at least the Pokemon of the universe. But still, it would take basically individuals who control actual fundamental concepts, space, time, all that, to contend with gods. Even Mewtwo, for all of his power, really would not be able to do much against Godzilla. Yes, his psychic abilities are great. In theory, he could try to mind wipe Godzilla, but Godzilla's so old and ancient that would he's either resistant or he would not be. It would not take very well, and be able to kind of fend it off and just kind of throw Mewtwo around. Mewtwo could have an energy shield, and he could block it with that, like the Atomic Breath, but that's so much power coming his way that most Pokemon don't have to begin with, that Mewtwo probably would not be able to handle Godzilla very well. He'd probably be able to keep up for a bit, but even with Mega Mewtwo, it's all debatable, because Mewtwo, we only ever see him really fighting against non-legendary Pokemon. The few times we've seen it fight against legendary Pokemon, which I believe was that Genesect fight, where we see the Mega Mewtwo one. Why? It wasn't like Mewtwo had to Mega Evolve just to keep up with those guys, or at least to actually really get the to really, I can't remember how that fight really went, but to actually really compete with them. If it was because they were bug type too, they had a resistance type wise against Mewtwo. So yeah, Mewtwo, when going up against individuals of a similar caliber or power, isn't like necessarily destroy. It's still technically the strongest Pokemon, but Mewtwo can lose. And this is a guy who kind of bitch smacks around other legendaries. So yeah. And so the evil villain of whatever group we're talking about here, we'll go Monarch. We could go Monarch. Monarch would go maybe as a Hydreigon just to piss Godzilla off with like a Dora reference. But he has a Hydreigon, but he would go after, try to find Godzilla, find where he lives, and try to capture Godzilla. Here's the thing: only a Master Ball, and I'm being kind, even with a Master Ball, could theoretically capture Godzilla due to his just sheer mass. This is just due to how big he really is, how powerful he is. And that first Godzilla, like he throws, he's caught a Master Ball or has a Master Ball, and he throws Godzilla senses it, and just as he's about to throw it, just like boom, or he actually gets caught. Godzilla wakes up like, what? I'm in the, and all of a sudden, I have it, the strongest Pokemon in existence. Now this world will bow to, and all of a sudden, just what the? And because we saw, courtesy of the Scarlet and Violet Indigo disc, Master Balls can be overpowered by strong enough Pokemon. That's a scary as F concept and a fun one for the gameplay because literally he caught Terapagos. And then Terapagos, when going full on, Terraform, could not be returned to the Pokeball and broke the Pokeball. I think Godzilla would be something even beyond that, where he literally is powering up all his radiation, and all of a sudden the Pokeball starts to fritz, the Master Ball starts to fritz, and and he gets out of there, but now Godzilla's pissed off humans. It's like these things. After all this time, I've let them live. You try to capture me? Get out of here! And you're firing weapons, and now he's pissed. Like, so this is what humanity's become. I have to remind. What happened to those fools keeping balance? I'll have to remind them. Who is the Alpha? And this is in his head. And so, who is the King of Mon? And so he arises, and he basically has a Toho Godzilla where he starts to just wreak havoc on the world. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? But where in the world is he? Ooh, that's a good question. I would keep him just to keep it Japan themed. I would keep it somewhere one of the Japan themed regions. Probably Hoenn, because it has the most amount of water to it. Or Alola, to be fair. I mean, it's either that or one of those two. Those would be the two big regions I would choose. I'd lean towards Hoenn. Even though Alola has more water, Hoenn seems, I think, to kind of work better. So he's wreaking havoc. Ash and the gang, if they were there, I was like, what is that? It's like, he's a legendary Pokemon he's legendary even among legendaries. It said no Pokemon other than the great creators of Sinnoh would be able to stand against him. They've never given him a true name, though one name lingers through history. Gojira. The Alpha Titan Pokemon. Little is known about him, but legend says that he is the one who rules over all legendaries. None can contend with his power. It's like, we gotta stop him. And so the legendaries kind of show up against him. What is it? Yeah, there's legendaries who are showing up at any rate. The ones who can. Like Rayquaza comes out, Mega evolves, just kind of laser beaming him a little bit. It's like, Rayquaza. They clash, but he gets blasted back. Rayquaza's just down for the count. Kyogre, Groudon, somehow, I don't know, we could say the evil team leader has found the special words to give the primal reversions. Both go primal reversion, give him a full blast, goodbye, Rayquaza comes out one last time, just boom, they're hitting him straight, just or beam struggle, and just Godzilla's really not even trying that much. There you go, flying back. We gotta stop him, please. And so, battery's getting low. And so, eventually it gets to the point where Ash is there, the chosen one. Lugia shows up again to try to help after meeting him against Lugia. I was like, Ash, don't do it. You don't know what he's like. Lugia, it's you. I have to try. It's like, Ash. And Lugia's struggling after getting the shit kicked out of him. And he's, let's say it's topless, would make sense. He's got to stand in the very cracks. Godzilla! And Pikachu, get his attention. And Lugia's like, connect your mind. I've connected your mind. You can speak with him. It's like, he's just staring right down. Like, what do you want, brat? Like, please stop this. We're not. These people are innocent, living life. Innocent. You come into my domain. Come into my home. I'm coming to my home. I'm trying to capture me in a ball, like every other little creature on this planet. You do not know I am not some slave to be contained. I was like, I understand that, but it was only one person. Only one? Since I've woken back up, I've taken inventory on this world. The balance, the balance is needle thin. For all the good, the balance, for all the balance, or all the maintaining, I allowed those fools to do. The world still hangs on a knife's edge. You did think I would just let it slide. My job, the duty of my duty given to me by Arceus was to keep balance in this world and everything in it. That means I have to destroy you, then so be it. But then Ash is just like, please don't do it. Then start with me. Are you volunteering? Not that we're not all. It's like we're not all evil. Please, these are innocent people living their lives. They didn't knew nothing of what was going on. Look. Yeah, and he even says, look at that kid. Look at that family. They're terrified of you. Is that how you want to be known as? You're supposed to be a protector, not a monster, not a destroyer. And Godzilla's a little impressed by it. He's got spunk. And Luke is like, it's not the world. It's not hopeless. Gojira, we can still maintain the balance. We're still doing it now. Humanity just needs to grow and evolve with us, and us with them. And Godzilla's like, you vouch for this human. He saved the world more than once already. And is that a fact? Show me. And so Lugia shows him the images in his head about the second movie. And since he's connected back with Ash, he can kind of gaze with some of the other stuff Ash has done, and drew clips. And finally, Godzilla's eyes open, just slowly, but looking down. Like, I'll give you credit, boy. You are different than the rest. And he just looks at the people. He's freaking the hell out. Just do not. It's like, I do not. He looks at Lugia and the other legendaries who's just floored on the ground. Just like, do not make me regret this. I've regretted it once. Once is enough. Do not make me regret this again. Then he just decides to leave. He's like, fine. And like Ash is like, and so he just goes back in the ocean and F's off. And really, that would be the end, I think, of Godzilla's story. The Pokemon still doing that. They maintain the balance, still maintaining the balance. Godzilla is perfectly content, just like, all right, fine. This happens again, though. Wreck and shop. None of you fools can stop me. It's literally going to take the power of space, time, gravity, and God to stop me next time I come up here. And so that's my idea of what if Godzilla were in the Pokemon universe. The idea of a Godzilla, and by the way, people have done converted the Titans and the Kaiju into Pokemon before, but we're not talking about converting them into Pokemon per se. We're actually just talking about, could he qualify even as a Pokemon in that world? I don't think he does, or if he does, he's an unknown classification of Pokemon with an ability that works differently with the rest. Either way, though, that's my thought. What do you think? Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you folks later. Have a good one.